Hello world, here I am again, day 4 of this project. This is Irene. Oh, so it always feels like I got less done than I thought I was going to get done every single day, but that's fine. And again, part of it is because the way my work, quote unquote, is going, which work for me actually is applying for work. I never know how long it's going to take, and so then I get around to my sort of my fun part of my day, which is this. And it kind of it, it takes a back burner. It has to. Just too bad because if I could do this 24/7, I would be happy as a clam. But anyways, yeah, so I ended yesterday where I had this drift problem whenever I collided with a corner. And so here's one of those issues where asking um ChatGPT for help works out great because you can do all the web searches you want and you get 900 answers, all of which are not entirely compatible with your project. But ChatGPT you can have a conversation with. So I asked ChatGPT for help on this one. And it gave me a bunch of settings that I needed to update, which again is just a Unity quirk where there's 1,000,006 settings and I needed to do specific ones that I didn't know where they were or that they existed. And so I did all of those, but then it also, I thought this was cool. So this was originally all that I had in my fixed update. This is my character movement script. And all this is saying, it looks weird, but all it's saying is that, whenever I give it a button press, I'm going to increase the direction in which it's moving. Uh, it's using this rigid body, which is just a fancy Unity term, um, and uh, and then moving it along a vector, and then I'm doing all the calculations for that vector. Uh, so what ChatGPT told me to do instead is check and see if I am intentionally moving. So the magnitude of that vector greater? You could probably do greater than 0, but I think it's safe to say greater than zero point 0.1. So if you're intentionally increasing your vector, then go ahead and move the character. If you're not increasing that vector, then you should just set your vector to 0. So stop your character from moving entirely. So I thought that was really clever. So anyways, I'm gonna remember that trick. That's a cool trick. So what else did I accomplish today? Well, it looks like a game now. It really does. I feel pretty proud of this, even though this looks really weird on this scene. But this is what you'll see when you start the game. More or less, I have pieces in here so that I can measure the positioning of everything. And again, this is something that I keep emphasizing that the position is going to be something to worry about. So here I can use this to measure like my my cat is doing very strange things right next to me. I'm sorry. I can measure like the positions where I can place pieces, and so that's why it's all strangely decorated right now. But I have a couple of thoughts. So I placed lighting. I made an exit and put the lighting right next to it, so that I have these really long shadows when you're far away from the light. And then ideally they should kind of shorten and give you a cue that you're getting close. I think I might change it just because right now I also increased the character speed just for now. Um, I might change the lighting type because right now it's a directional light. And I think maybe there's another lighting type I could use that would more emphasize like you are now close to the exit. So yeah, so I have this very shiny exit you can collide with. And eventually this will be a trigger. It'll just say load the next level. But since we only have one level right now, this is where we're at. Uh oh well, and I just noticed I have a collision problem. Yeah, okay. Some of these green pieces are not colliding correctly. Hey look, more bugs to fix, guys. That's weird. That's really weird. Okay, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Nothing like every bugs while you're streaming. Or oh well, hey. Look at that. Okay, so something's going on. Some of that I think might just have to do with like I'm trying to put the character a little bit higher so it doesn't glide with the floors. It looks like a 2D game with like it just has 3D models because again I wanted like the shading and the glowing and the lighting and all that fun stuff. So that could just be a matter of scaling. Uh, so yeah, so that's most of what I accomplished. I also, like I said, I if you look at my scene, uh, I created walls, so it just looks very nice. And I created a floor, so you have something to place the pieces on. And I placed all of the pieces, like over and over and over again. And I waffled back and forth between sizing them to 10 by 10 because it just makes math easy. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of those pieces. Um, and really, the computer's gonna do all the math. So why am I worried? It's just I'm gonna have to do like multiply by 12, and I think offset by 6. I'll I'll figure. Again, that's tomorrow's problem. So yeah, so I pretty productive day. It like I said, it does definitely look like a game now. I'm pretty proud of where it's going. Again, like the textures and everything, I think one other part of this, ooh, right through the map, one other part of this is going to be just going on the Unity store and maybe finding or going through the assets I already have and just finding a collection of materials because um, I went through the process of making materials or at least modifying materials in one of my classes and it was pretty fun. A lot of it just has to do with vector math. Everything comes down to vector math in this. So it turns out that linear algebra is pretty much vital to all of this. So, um, so I could make my own materials, but that feels like again like reinventing the wheel. Um, Sometime in the future, maybe I'll play with that. Especially because materials just take a while to bake. Last time I made my own materials, I set it to bake and it said it was going to take 6 hours to do it, and it was for a homework assignment, and I decided not to do it because 6 hours is a long time for your computer to be dragging along doing something when you've got other homework assignments to do. So I let it go, and I just used like cheap material or free material that I found on Unity Store. So yeah, so I have a bunch of Unity assets. I'll probably just use one of those. I also found some music that I really like that I'll probably use. Again, that's one thing. It'd be a lot of fun to compose my own music. I'm not saying I'm a great musician, but I could probably get one of these freeware composition softwares and put something together, especially like a simple little like, drifty background music kind of thing. But I have to think about time. That's always the thing. Doing that kind of thing takes time, just like the materials. So there's where I'm at right now, and there's where my thinking is at right now. I have everything figured out so that I can do the how to place stuff. My goal tomorrow, I'll probably finish doing that, or I'll start that script and hopefully finish it. It shouldn't be long. That just says, when I go and drag my mouse over the map it will say like it's going to limit like which point you're pointing at on the map like this you can place a piece at specific points and not in between points otherwise the whole thing falls apart and then another script that will by the same token so once I know where all the pieces can go then I can know which nodes are available to place my random coins and treasure chests that you'll find along the way as well as eventually we'll have hazards. This is level 1, so it's simple. There's no hazards. There'll be like a couple of coins and maybe a treasure chest to pick up, just so you learn the basics of the game. And then, yeah, I think that's for tomorrow. And then I do have to think about the UI, right? So I would like to have a little UI on the right that tells you which piece you're going to place. And that was something I discussed earlier. I'm not sure if I need to do that um, with if I can do it with a canvas, that would be great because a canvas floats on the screen and doesn't move, so I could move up and down. and I don't have to worry about gluing stuff to the screen. So yeah, there we go. I'm excited. Like I said, it now I look at the screen and it's like, oh yeah, that's like an actual game, not just a collection of random stuff that I threw into a folder. So this is exciting. And I got some really great title potentials from my family too while they were here. Always ask kids for good ideas. They always have good ideas. So, all right, that's it for me for tonight. Thank you so much again for joining me. And I know I still have sound issues. I'm sorry. Hopefully you can hear all of this. If not, hopefully the captions work. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.